Hello, I'm Sam Watts, Director of Safety and Loss Control for 10-4 Truck Insurance, and today I want to talk a little bit about driver fitness. A lot of people assume that driver fitness has something to do with physical fitness. It does not. It really deals with, is a driver fit to be behind the wheel? Meaning, does a driver have a valid CDL? Does a driver have a valid med card? Things like that. Those are going to be the big things. Obviously, there is some physical needs that a driver needs to have in order to drive, but the biggest violations you're going to see in the driver fitness category is CDLs and med cards. Okay, med cards are tricky because they used to be, 2 years, maybe a 1 year med card, but now they're going down to even 9 months, 6 months. I've even seen a 3-month med card. So if you have a driver that has health issues, they're going to have a med card that expires a lot sooner than the 1 year or 2 year mark. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. Make sure the driver is keeping an eye on that as well, because if they're operating a commercial motor vehicle, they need to have a medical card, okay? And that medical card needs to be signed and all that stuff from a doctor who is on the FMCSA database, the National Registry. If they get a med card that's not from one of those doctors, that is not a valid med card. Okay, and as the company, you need to make sure you go onto the databases, Google FMCSA National Registry, go on that database and make sure that that med card and the number on that med card matches the doctor that performed that examination. Make sense? So make sure they have a valid med card. The other big thing is a valid CDL. Now, a lot of times drivers will understand that they have a CDL and it's in good standing and the expiration date is this date or whatever, and they'll keep an eye on that. However, there are times when a driver's CDL will get downgraded. So a driver to drive the big rigs, the semi trucks and trailers, they need a CDL A to do that. But there are times when they will get downgraded to a CDL B or even lose a CDL because of something that they might not even know about. Okay, I've seen it happen. The big one is missing child support payments or having an issue with the med card. Those are going to be your two big ones. So one of the ways to combat that is to set your fleet up on a continuous monitoring system, meaning it's going to monitor motor vehicle reports and motor vehicle records as they are coming out from the state. Okay, if you get caught, if your driver gets caught without having a valid CDL, meaning they thought they did but they don't, they're going to get shut down right there, and the DOT officer is not going to let them move until they get a valid CDL, meaning usually the driver has to go back to their home state and clear everything up. It's usually not a simple phone call. It's usually they got to go. So driver fitness, okay, make sure that they have a valid med card and a valid CDL. The best way to do that is to get yourself a piece of software. There's a lot of them out there right now, but get some software out there that will keep an eye on the expiration dates of that stuff, because that's ultimately what a lot of it is keeping an eye on the expiration dates, making sure that the med cards and the CDLs don't expire. Also, that software out there that will continuously monitor the driver CDL to make sure it doesn't get downgraded is not necessary, but it is extremely helpful, and I highly recommend it, because you do not want to have a driver out on the road without a valid CDL or without a valid med card, because again, they're going to get shut down. And now all of a sudden, you've got a truck, you've got a trailer, and you've got a load out there, and it's usually in the middle of nowhere, because that's the most convenient time to get shut down and have your driver thrown out. So you're going to have those three things out there. Now you got to figure out how to get all that equipment and that load delivered, and it is a nightmare. Okay, so invest in some software, start monitoring the CDLs and the MV or the med cards, and make sure that those don't expire, and that way you can stay safe out there, and your driver fitness score will not be raised in the basic categories.